I just want to thank you all for being here this morning. And we're proud to represent these families and claim to try and drive change for Oxford to force policy change at this point. The new school year is about 10 weeks away. And so these families have children that are going back into the school. And so this lawsuit really seeks to force change by federal court order, by equitable and injunctive relief. We seek a court order forcing the school to be transparent and to make certain changes. That includes third-party investigation, to stop minimizing threats of violence, to communicate clearly with the parents, for transparency, also for training for these school administrators and kids who are suicidal, for these students to be identified and for action to be taken. There are some harmful policies that are in place currently at Oxford, and including, if there's no disciplinary issue, you can't keep the student or send the student home. And we know from historically that, these shooters are male, that their students are former students, and that over 80% of them are suicidal at the time that these events take place. And so for the safety of all these Oxford families, and really for families around the country, it's time for change. And so we're proud to represent these families today. And you're going to be hearing from 4 different family members here to talk about their specific concerns and why we're filing this case. I will just note that none of the families in this federal lawsuit are seeking any monetary compensation. They're just asking, hey, we need some change, and we need change from the courts because the school board and the administration has been so slow to take action and to make these changes. They even have refused multiple times Dana Nessel's investigation. So with that, I will turn it over to the parents. And John, did you want me to introduce the first speaker?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, our first speaker this morning, her name is Andrea Jones. Andrea, could you please address your comments?
Sure, thank you. November 30th, 2021. This will forever be the day that altered the natural course of events in our children's lives. We had finally made it back after 2 years of the pandemic. They were excited to go back and be in the company of their friends and teachers. Within months, the climate changed. There was a general uneasiness that began to seep through in their conversations and their actions. It seemed going to school was often a somber event at times, increasing with each threat, resulting in some kids wanting to stay home as they did not feel safe at school. Then the unimaginable happened. We lost 4 bright, beautiful souls and several others who were physically injured. However, we all carry scars from that day. In the week following the shooting, details began to emerge regarding meetings that took place with the shooter and his parents. School officials were vague in their statements and withholding even the names of those involved. On December 4th, our then superintendent announced that there would be a third-party review to investigate the tragedy. Shortly after, the Attorney General offered to complete this investigation at no cost to the district, and the school board declined. Parents began inquiring about the investigation at the board meetings, but were deflected. Parents also addressed safety concerns and the lack of transparency in the communications from the district. Many wrote emails that went unanswered. We wanted to know what updates to security and policies were being done to ensure the safe return of our children to their care. The trust had been shattered, and it was their duty to restore it. After months without answers, we were given a return to school date. The students were not asked how they felt about returning to the very hallway where their friends and siblings were killed. Since their return, many students cannot finish a day or week due to the triggers. But how can they not be triggered when they travel the very scene of the crime every day? The amount of school that these students miss is a big reflection of how safe they feel. There is a drastic difference in what grades they were getting then versus now, many just barely getting by. How can anyone be expected to learn when you consistently fear for your safety? Again in May, the school board declined the Attorney General's second offer to investigate, this time stating that it was not the right time to complete any investigation due to the criminal cases as well as the civil cases they had been named in. The county prosecutor released a statement clarifying that there was no conflict for an investigation to happen. The school board recently hired Guidepost Solutions to complete the review, although it is unlikely that we will get a complete, unbiased, impartial review this way. We continue to wait for answers and get the policies in place that we desperately need so that another tragic event does not plague our community. We need answers to be able to fix what went wrong. We are not seeking monetary damages. We are here because we desperately need policy changes. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Andrea. We also have April. Ms. Ventline, would you be willing to speak?
Thank you. Hello, my name is April Ventline, and I have a son who was at the high school on November 30th, and I'm here to talk about that day. After the devastation of that day, all I could think about was why. Why did this happen to our school? But after a while, though, I started to think how. How was a damaged young man able to knock down every safety protocol the school had in place? So trying to get the answers to those questions, I attended the board meetings, and when not physically possible, I watched them online. And I waited for the board because I thought the board would also want to find out how this could have happened. So I listened, and the board talked about things such as clear backpacks, ID requirements, searching bags, and that was helpful to keep out another troubled person with a weapon. But what would happen if a student does get through? And this could happen because my understanding is the safety protocols are sometimes lacking. Would the protocols currently in place be able to prevent another tragedy? Is there sufficient training of the admin that another troubled student doesn't slip through? A third-party review would answer these questions. So I continued to watch and listen to the board in hopes that they would start the process of a third-party review. In December 2021, I heard that they would proceed immediately. Next, I heard that they couldn't because it would interfere with the prosecutor's case, which she then came out and refuted. During all of this, the Attorney General offered not once, but 3 times to do a third-party investigation at no cost to the school to help the district find some answers. Not once, but 3 times the school board rejected the AG's offer, which makes me now wonder, why are they working so hard to avoid the Attorney General's help? Now, because of the pressure or the loud outcry from the families and the students, the school board will be doing a third-party review, but overseen by their newly hired attorney with no guarantees they will release all the findings or be transparent. My fear now is that they will use attorney-client privilege to withhold pertinent information from the review. So I am still asking how, and after so many miscommunications and backpedaling, I don't have faith or trust that we will get a clear and honest